To be financially free in your 30s. 5 things I gave up when I was 25. In the prime of our youth, the world tempts us with countless distractions. Glittering nights out with friends, the latest gadgets flashing in store windows, and the allure of living in the moment all seem harmless and even justified. After all, isn't this the age for indulgence? Yet, let me tell you a truth I wish someone had whispered in my ear earlier. The seeds you plant in your 20s will determine the fruits you harvest in your 30s. At 25, I made a decision that changed my life forever. I chose to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term freedom. Today, in my 30s, I wake up without the burden of financial stress. I have the freedom to pursue my passions, spend quality time with loved ones, and live life on my terms. But this freedom didn't come without cost. It required discipline, focus, and, above all, the courage to give up certain things that most of my peers couldn't imagine living without. In this article, I will share with you the 5 things I gave up at 25 that set me on the path to financial freedom. These lessons aren't just strategies. They are a blueprint for anyone who dreams of breaking free from the chains of financial worry. Read until the end, and I promise you, you'll walk away with insights that could transform your life. 1. The addiction to instant gratification, a barrier to long-lasting success. In the ever-changing rhythm of life, there exists a subtle yet powerful temptation that whispers to our souls, "Why wait when you can have it now?" This is the voice of instant gratification, a force that has ensnared countless individuals, keeping them from realizing their full potential. Like a shimmering mirage in the desert, it promises satisfaction but leaves us parched for deeper meaning and fulfillment. Today, let us explore this timeless struggle, understand its impact, and learn how to master it. For only by conquering the fleeting pleasures of the moment can one lay the foundation for enduring success. What is instant gratification? At its core, instant gratification is the desire to experience pleasure or fulfillment without delay. It is the choice of a fleeting reward over a greater, delayed one. Imagine a farmer who, instead of waiting for the harvest, eats his seeds today. The momentary hunger is satisfied, but the promise of a bountiful harvest is forever lost. In today's world, instant gratification is more accessible than ever. With a single click, we can buy what we desire, stream endless entertainment, or indulge in unhealthy cravings. But this convenience comes at a cost: financial instability, health problems, and a lack of long-term achievement. The hidden dangers of instant gratification: eroding financial stability. Picture this: a young professional earns their first paycheck. Elated, they buy the latest smartphone, treat themselves to luxurious dinners, and indulge in shopping sprees. By the end of the month, their bank account is empty, and the cycle repeats. Over time, this pattern leads to debt, stress, and missed opportunities to build wealth. Instead of yielding to such impulses, imagine investing that money in a stock portfolio or a business idea. While the returns may take years, the outcome could be life-changing. The choice between short-term pleasure and long-term security defines one's financial destiny. A friend of mine once spent all her savings on a designer bag she had to have. Meanwhile, another friend used that same amount to attend a coding boot camp. 5 years later, the first friend had an outdated bag, while the other had a 6-figure job. Such is the power of delayed gratification, weakening emotional resilience. Instant gratification conditions us to seek the easy path, avoiding discomfort and challenges. Over time, this weakens our ability to persevere through difficulties. For instance, choosing a night of Netflix over preparing for an important presentation may feel good now, but it erodes our confidence and opportunities later. Building emotional resilience requires embracing discomfort. When you resist the urge to procrastinate, push through a tough workout, or save money instead of spending it, you train yourself to endure hardships and grow stronger. Think of the blacksmith shaping iron. The metal must endure fire and hammering before it transforms into a mighty sword. Similarly, avoiding the heat of challenges leaves us brittle and unprepared for life's trials, sacrificing long-term health. The temptation of instant gratification extends to our health as well. Fast food, sugary drinks, And skipping exercise may offer immediate comfort, but they steal years of vitality. The body, like a sacred temple, requires discipline to maintain its strength and beauty. Consider two individuals. One enjoys fast food daily, while the other opts for home-cooked meals and regular exercise. In the short term, the first person feels satisfied, but in a decade, they face health issues, while the other enjoys a vibrant life. The path of discipline may be harder, but its rewards are incomparable. Why we fall for instant gratification? The pull of instant gratification is rooted in human psychology. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, a mechanism that once ensured survival. However, in today's world of abundance, this instinct often works against us. Social media, advertisements, and consumer culture exploit these tendencies, making it harder than ever to resist. How to overcome the addiction? Cultivate awareness. The first step is recognizing when you're being tempted. Pause and ask yourself, will this bring me joy tomorrow, next month, or next year? Awareness creates a space between impulse and action, allowing you to make wiser choices. Set clear goals. When you have a compelling vision for your future, the allure of instant gratification diminishes. Write down your goals, whether financial, health-related, or personal, and review them daily. Let them serve as a compass to guide your decisions. Practice small acts of discipline. Discipline is like a muscle. It strengthens with use. Start small. Skip the morning coffee run. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, or save a portion of your paycheck. Each act reinforces your ability to delay gratification and builds momentum for greater challenges. Create a reward system. Delayed gratification doesn't mean denying yourself entirely. Set milestones and reward yourself for progress. For example, after saving for 6 months, treat yourself to a modest indulgence. This balances discipline with enjoyment. The wisdom of delayed gratification. The ancient sages often spoke of the power of patience. They understood that the greatest achievements require time and effort. Consider the bamboo tree. For years, it grows underground, unseen and unnoticed. But once it breaks the surface, it grows rapidly, reaching incredible heights. Success, too, requires unseen preparation and steadfast commitment. A timeless lesson. The journey to overcome instant gratification is not about denying yourself joy, but about choosing the joy that lasts. Each moment of restraint is a step toward freedom. Each disciplined choice a seed for a brighter future. Reflect on this wisdom, and let it guide your actions. When tempted by the fleeting pleasures of today, ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to build for tomorrow? Remember, true satisfaction lies not in what we take, but in what we become. 2. The fear of missing out, FOMO, a chain that binds your future. In every era, humanity has faced a temptation unique to its time. For us, in this age of instant connectivity and relentless comparison, the greatest snare is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. It whispers to us in moments of quiet, urging us to chase what others have, attend where others go, and partake in what the world calls unmissable. Yet, the wise have always known that the pursuit of everything often leaves one with nothing. To overcome FOMO is to liberate yourself from a life dictated by others. It is to claim sovereignty over your time, energy, and resources. Allow me to share with you the lessons I learned when I decided to confront this modern plague at 25, a decision that set me on a path to financial freedom by my 30s. FOMO, the silent thief of joy and wealth. Picture this. Your friends are posting pictures of exotic beaches, luxurious dinners, and glamorous parties. Each post feels like a reminder of what you're not doing, where you're not going, and what you're not achieving. The pull to join them grows. But so does the anxiety of spending money you don't have or taking time away from your goals. At 25, I realized that FOMO wasn't just a fleeting feeling. It was a financial black hole. Every impulsive trip, every expensive night out, and every unnecessary purchase drained more than just my wallet. It drained my focus and progress. I began to see that chasing the lives others displayed so proudly was like running on a treadmill, exhausting, but getting me nowhere. A hard-learned example. I vividly remember a friend inviting me on a weekend getaway to a luxury resort. The cost? 2 weeks of my salary at the time. I hesitated. My mind was torn between logic and emotion. Everyone was going. The pictures would flood social media, and I would be the one left behind, scrolling through my phone in regret. But something held me back. I politely declined, stayed home, and used that weekend to study an online course on personal finance. It wasn't glamorous, and I didn't have any photos to post. But 2 months later, I used what I learned to start investing in a small mutual fund. By the end of the year, that decision had grown into a sum that dwarfed the cost of the getaway. My friends, on the other hand, were still paying off their credit card bills from that trip. The true cost of FOMO. FOMO often disguises itself as harmless fun, but its true cost is far greater than the price tag of any event or experience. Consider this: financial instability. Every impulsive expense driven by FOMO is money that could have been saved or invested. Over time, these small, frequent costs accumulate into a mountain of missed opportunities. Emotional exhaustion. The constant need to keep up with others creates a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction. No matter how much you do, there will always be another event, another purchase, another trend. FOMO robs you of contentment, lost focus on long-term goals. Each time you give in to FOMO, you divert energy and resources away from your greater purpose. You trade the future you desire for a fleeting moment of inclusion. Breaking free from FOMO. How, then, does one break free from this seemingly irresistible force? The answer lies in ancient wisdom. Know thyself. To conquer FOMO, you must first understand its origins and take deliberate steps to overcome it. Redefine success. Success is not measured by how much you do or own, but by how aligned your life is with your values. At 25, I wrote down what truly mattered to me: financial freedom, meaningful relationships, and personal growth. This clarity became my compass, guiding me away from distractions. Practice gratitude. FOMO thrives on comparison. Gratitude, on the other hand, reminds you of the abundance already in your life. Every evening, I began listing 3 things I was grateful for. This simple habit shifted my focus from what I lacked to what I had. Learn to say no. Saying no to invitations or trends is not a rejection of others. It is a commitment to yourself. I started viewing every decision as a trade-off. Was attending a lavish party worth delaying my financial goals? Most often, the answer was no. Create your own joy. FOMO often arises when you feel that joy exists only outside of yourself. I learned to find happiness in simple, affordable activities: cooking a new recipe, reading a fascinating book, or taking a walk in nature. These moments brought me more peace than any expensive experience ever could. A modern parable: the man who chased shadows. Let me share a story. There once was a man who spent his days chasing the shadows of birds as they flew above him. Wherever the shadow went, he followed, running tirelessly to keep up. One day, he looked down and realized he had wandered far from his home, his loved ones, and his fields, which had withered from neglect. The shadows, he realized, were never his to catch. FOMO is much like those shadows: fleeting, elusive, and ultimately empty. When we chase it, we lose sight of what truly matters. But when we focus on our own path, the world around us flourishes. Contentment is the key to freedom. Breaking free from FOMO doesn't mean you'll never feel its pull again. Even now, I occasionally feel the tug when I see others enjoying luxuries I've chosen to forego. But I remind myself of this truth: every no today is a yes to my future. If you take one lesson from this, let it be this: your life is not a race against others. It is a journey toward your own definition of success. Walk it with intention, and you will find that what you truly desire was never out there. It was within you all along. 3. Keeping up with the Joneses, the silent thief of true wealth. In every generation, there has existed a silent battle, a struggle not waged with swords or words, but with desires and illusions. This battle is known as keeping up with the Joneses, a phrase that captures the quiet desperation of those who measure their success by the standards of their neighbors. It is a subtle thief, robbing you of financial stability, inner peace, and the freedom to live authentically. Yet, many remain unaware of its grip until the damage has already been done. Allow me to share with you the wisdom of ages past, so that you might escape this snare and reclaim a life of purpose and abundance. Sit with me, and let us reflect deeply on this phenomenon, peeling back its layers and unveiling the path to freedom. The illusion of success. Why we chase the Joneses. Picture a man who sees his neighbor acquire a gleaming new car. The neighbor parks it proudly in his driveway, and passers-by admire its polish and power. This man, feeling the weight of comparison, convinces himself he too must own such a car, not because he needs it, but because he craves the validation it represents. He takes on a loan, stretching his finances to the brink, all to keep pace with a fleeting image of success. This scenario is not new. Ancient sages warned of this in their teachings, reminding us that envy is a fire that consumes not the object of desire, but the desirer themselves. The Joneses, you see, are not real. They are projections of what society tells us we should value: status, possessions, and appearances. But these projections are hollow, for true wealth is never found in outward displays, but in inner contentment. The cost of keeping up, a burden too heavy to bear. What does it cost to keep up with the Joneses? Far more than dollars or cents. The cost is your freedom. Financial cost. Many who attempt to match the lifestyle of others live paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt. They may own the car, the house, or the gadgets, but these possessions are shackled to high-interest loans and credit card balances. For example, studies show that the average person spends 20 to 30% of their income on non-essential luxuries just to maintain appearances. Imagine if that money was instead invested or saved. How different their future could be. Emotional cost. The constant comparison breeds anxiety and dissatisfaction. You may always feel not enough, as there will always be someone with a bigger house, a fancier vacation, or a more prestigious job. This cycle is endless and cruel, sapping joy from the present moment. Time cost. To fund these indulgences, people often sacrifice their most valuable resource, time. They work longer hours, take on second jobs, or neglect personal relationships, all to sustain a lifestyle that doesn't align with their true values. Lessons from the wise. Breaking free from the illusion. How, then, do we escape this trap? The answers lie in timeless wisdom that calls us to shift our focus inward rather than outward. Redefine wealth. Wealth is not about owning more. It is about needing less. A farmer in ancient times once said, "I am richer than the king, for while he desires what he does not have, I am content with all I own." Learn to measure success not by what you acquire, but by what you appreciate. Begin a gratitude practice each day. List 3 things you are thankful for. You will find that what you have is already enough. Live below your means. Simplicity is the bedrock of financial freedom. Choose a lifestyle that allows you to save and invest, rather than one that consumes all you earn. For instance, consider the story of a young couple who lived modestly, saved 50% of their income, and retired in their 40s. While their peers were busy upgrading cars and homes, they focused on building a future free from financial worry. Invest in what truly matters. Instead of chasing material possessions, invest in experiences, relationships, and personal growth. A $5,000 vacation to reconnect with family may bring more lasting joy than a $50,000 car that depreciates the moment you drive it. Adopt the long view. Remember, the Joneses you envy today may not even have the wealth they project. Many are trapped in debt, living beyond their means. Focus instead on building a life that will bring you true freedom and security in the years to come. A parable of true wealth. Let me share a parable to illuminate this truth. Once, a humble fisherman lived by the sea, catching just enough fish each day to feed his family. One afternoon, a wealthy merchant approached him and said, "Why don't you fish more and sell the extra? Soon, you could buy a bigger boat." The fisherman asked, "And then what?" "You could hire others to fish for you, expand your business, and make a fortune." "And then what?" "You could retire, spend your days by the sea, and enjoy life." The fisherman smiled. But I already do that now. The lesson here is profound. If we are constantly chasing, we may miss the joys of the present. True wealth lies not in possessions, but in peace of mind, freedom of time, and fulfillment of purpose. The path forward, your journey begins today. To break free from keeping up with the Joneses is to reclaim your life. It requires courage to step away from societal pressures, wisdom to prioritize what truly matters, and discipline to live within your means. Begin by reflecting on your own life. Are you chasing the Joneses? Or are you pursuing your authentic dreams? If you find yourself in the trap, take heart. Change is always possible. Let today be the first step toward a life of freedom and abundance. If this resonates with you, I encourage you to share this message with others who may need it. Together, we can build a community of individuals who value contentment over comparison, purpose over possessions, and freedom over fleeting fame. 4. Toxic relationships and environments. The silent chains holding you back. In the journey to financial freedom, the obstacles we often consider are external, insufficient income, mounting expenses, or a lack of knowledge about investing. But rarely do we stop to examine the silent saboteurs lurking within our personal circles. Toxic relationships and environments. These are the intangible chains that bind your growth, draining your energy, focus, and ambition without you even realizing it. At 25, I came to understand this harsh truth. No matter how disciplined you are with money or how hard you work, your progress will be hindered if you surround yourself with the wrong people or remain in unproductive environments. Let me guide you through the wisdom I learned, like lessons passed down from the sages of old. The subtle poison of toxic relationships. Emotional vampires. There are people in our lives who seem harmless but leave us drained after every interaction. They complain incessantly, belittle our ambitions, or project their insecurities onto us. These individuals are like emotional vampires, sucking away the energy you need to pursue your goals. When I began my journey to financial freedom, a close friend frequently mocked my decision to live frugally. Why deny yourself? Life is short, they would say, all while drowning in credit card debt. At first, I tried to justify my choices, but their constant negativity began to sow doubt in my mind. The turning point came when I realized that their words stemmed from their own fears and failures. I chose to distance myself, not out of resentment, but out of a commitment to my growth. It wasn't easy, but removing that influence allowed me to focus entirely on my goals. Saboteurs in disguise. Sometimes, the most toxic relationships come from people who seem supportive on the surface but secretly undermine your efforts. These are the friends or co-workers who encourage reckless spending, discourage your dreams, or subtly make you feel inferior. One co-worker of mine frequently convinced me to join after-work gatherings that turned into expensive nights out. I would cave in, thinking I was investing in my social life. But each time, I ended up with a lighter wallet and a heavier heart. It wasn't until I started saying no that I realized they were more interested in a drinking buddy than a true friend. The unseen weight of toxic environments. The comfort zone trap. Environments are just as influential as relationships. The places we frequent, the routines we follow, and the media we consume all shape our mindset. At 25, I realized that my small apartment was cluttered and uninspiring. It wasn't a space that encouraged growth or creativity. I began decluttering, replacing mindless entertainment with books on personal finance and self-improvement. I created a workspace that motivated me to focus on my side hustles. These small changes transformed my environment from a place of stagnation to a hub of productivity. The noise of mediocrity. Another toxic environment is one where mediocrity thrives. These are workplaces, communities, or social groups where ambition is seen as arrogance and settling is the norm. If everyone around you is content with just getting by, it's easy to adopt the same mindset. At my first job, I noticed that most of my coworkers would gossip about management, complain about pay, and spend their weekends partying away their frustrations. I joined in at first, but it soon felt like a never-ending cycle. When I started pursuing a certification to boost my career, some colleagues even ridiculed me for trying too hard. Their words stung, but I pressed on. A year later, That certification helped me land a promotion, while many of them remained stuck in the same positions. Breaking free, lessons from the ancients. The sages of old often said, "You cannot pour clean water into a dirty vessel." Similarly, you cannot build a life of success and freedom while surrounded by negativity. Here's how you can free yourself. Audit your relationships. Take a hard look at the people in your life. Ask yourself, do they inspire me or drain me? Do they celebrate my wins or downplay them? Reducing contact with toxic individuals is not selfish, it's self-preservation. A mentor once advised me to spend time with people I admired. I joined a local entrepreneur group, and their drive and positivity pushed me to aim higher. Redesign your environment. Create a space that reflects your goals. Whether it's a tidy desk, a vision board, or a quiet corner for reading, your environment should energize you. I replaced late-night Netflix binges with a habit of listening to motivational podcasts. It reshaped my mindset and kept me focused on my journey. Seek quality over quantity. Build relationships with people who challenge you to grow. These are the friends who hold you accountable. Celebrate your progress and share your vision. I reached out to an old college acquaintance who was thriving in their career. Our conversations were inspiring, and their guidance helped me avoid costly mistakes. The path to freedom. By freeing myself from toxic relationships and environments, I found clarity and energy to pursue financial independence. It wasn't an easy process. It required introspection, tough decisions, and sometimes loneliness. But as the sages say, a tree cannot grow tall unless its roots are deep and strong. If you're reading this and feeling the weight of toxic influences in your life, know this: change is within your power. Start small. Take one step today. Distance yourself from one draining person. Say no to one unproductive habit, or create one uplifting space. Over time, these changes will compound, and you'll find yourself growing into the person you were meant to be. 5. The desire for perfection, a barrier to financial freedom. In the wisdom of the ancients, there is a saying, "The one who waits for the perfect wind will never set sail." This simple truth carries profound wisdom, especially for those who dream of financial independence but find themselves shackled by the relentless pursuit of perfection. In this essay, I will delve deeply into why the desire for perfection often hinders our progress and how overcoming this mindset can pave the way to a life of freedom and abundance. Perfection is a mirage. Imagine standing at the edge of a desert, gazing at a shimmering oasis in the distance. You set out, walking toward it, but as you draw near, it disappears, only to reappear farther away. Such is the nature of perfection. It looks achievable, but it's ever elusive. When I was 25, I hesitated to take the first steps toward financial freedom because I felt unprepared. I thought I needed to master every investment strategy, read every book on personal finance, and have a flawless plan before I could act. The truth? The pursuit of perfection became a delaying tactic. Weeks turned into months, and months into years. As I waited for the perfect time to start, a friend of mine, Sarah, once dreamed of launching her own online business. She spent years refining her business plan, tweaking her website, and agonizing over her branding. Yet, she never launched. She was paralyzed by the thought that her work wasn't good enough. Meanwhile, another acquaintance started a similar business with minimal preparation, learning as she went. Today, that acquaintance runs a thriving enterprise, while Sarah is still waiting for the perfect moment. Perfection is not only unattainable, but also unnecessary. Progress, no matter how imperfect, trumps inaction every time. Progress over perfection. To overcome the paralysis of perfection, one must embrace the philosophy of Kaizen, the Japanese concept of continuous improvement. This principle teaches that small, consistent actions compound over time, leading to extraordinary results. When I finally set aside my obsession with perfection, I started small. I opened a basic savings account and committed to saving 10% of my income, even if it felt insignificant. I didn't know all the intricacies of investing, but I started with low-risk index funds. Over time, I learned through trial and error, refining my strategies as I gained experience. By my 30s, those small, Imperfect steps had transformed into substantial wealth. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His persistence and willingness to embrace imperfection led to the invention of the light bulb, an achievement that illuminated the world. If Edison had waited for the perfect conditions or ideas, we might still be living in darkness. Progress is born from action, not planning. The key is to start where you are with what you have. The fear of judgment. One of the greatest obstacles to overcoming the desire for perfection is the fear of what others might think. We worry that our mistakes will invite ridicule or that our imperfect efforts will be deemed unworthy. In my journey, I realized that this fear was rooted in ego. I was more concerned with appearing competent than with actually learning and growing. But as I took imperfect steps, I discovered a liberating truth. Most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to scrutinize yours. And those who judge, their opinions hold no weight in the grand scheme of your life. A young man named Alex shared with me how he hesitated to start investing because he feared making a wrong decision and losing money. One day, he decided to invest a small amount in a mutual fund. While his initial returns were modest, he gained confidence and knowledge. Today, Alex has a diversified portfolio and mentors others in their financial journeys. The fear of judgment fades with action. Confidence is built not by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them. Imperfection breeds growth. There is a beauty in imperfection that we often overlook. It is through our mistakes that we learn the most valuable lessons. Each misstep is a teacher, guiding us toward greater understanding and mastery. When I began my journey, I made plenty of mistakes. I invested in a few ventures that didn't yield returns, missed opportunities due to hesitation, and even overspent on unnecessary tools for self-improvement. Yet, each of these errors taught me something vital. They sharpened my instincts, refined my strategies, and strengthened my resolve. Steve Jobs is a prime example of someone who embraced imperfection and used it as a stepping stone to greatness. After being ousted from Apple, he founded Next, which wasn't a financial success. However, the technology developed at Next became the foundation for Apple's renaissance when he returned. Jobs didn't let failure deter him. He used it as fuel for growth. Mistakes are not the enemy. Stagnation is. Embrace your flaws and let them guide your evolution. The myth of readiness. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is, "I'll start when I'm ready." But readiness is a myth. The truth is, you'll never feel fully prepared. The only way to prepare for the journey is to begin it. At 25, I thought I needed to achieve certain milestones before I could consider myself ready to pursue financial independence. But readiness came only after I started, after I faced challenges, adapted to setbacks, and celebrated small victories. A writer I know, Emily, spent years waiting for the perfect story idea. One day, she decided to write a single page every morning, no matter how uninspired she felt. Within a year, she had completed her first novel. It wasn't perfect, but it was finished, and it marked the beginning of her successful career as an author. Action creates readiness, not the other way around. The ultimate takeaway: the pursuit of perfection is a seductive trap that keeps us stagnant. It whispers that we must wait until conditions are ideal, that mistakes are unacceptable, and that anything less than flawless is unworthy. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. The real path to success lies in embracing imperfection, taking small, consistent steps, and learning as you go. If you dream of financial freedom or any other form of success, remember this: the journey is messy, the road is uneven, and mistakes are inevitable. But it is through this imperfect process that greatness is achieved. The lesson: freedom is earned, not given. Looking back, I realized that the sacrifices I made in my 20s weren't really sacrifices. They were investments. Every dollar saved, every toxic habit let go, and every new skill learned brought me closer to the life I have now. If you're in your 20s or even your 30s, it's not too late to start. The path to financial freedom requires discipline, but it also brings unparalleled rewards. Imagine waking up one day knowing you don't have to trade your time for money unless you want to. That's the kind of life worth working for. If this article inspired you, don't stop here. Subscribe to my channel and join a community of like-minded individuals striving for financial independence. Together, we'll explore more lessons, strategies, and stories to help you achieve the life you dream of. Remember, your future self is watching. Make them proud.